account. He's one of the bigger accounts that's been discussing everything Charlie Kirk on X. He writes, Erika is the reason Charlie even got involved in the Falkirk Center. And then the spinoff of Turning Point USA Faith, she was brought in as his handler to move him in that direction. She had him starry-eyed and wrapped around her finger. Go, Max. Love you, Candace. Keep shining the light on evil. Look, I am obviously part of the reason I know everyone's like, oh, why weren't you here? I met my husband and it was like happily ever after and skipped into the sunset. And I can say, I can pinpoint that, yes, obviously we know that Erika Kirk was a Falkirk fellow. I have not yet heard that she explicitly said you need to establish the Falkirk Center. And I would have to go back and ask people that. I am starting to work through some of the questions that people have about her background. And I've wanted to be very careful because I don't want to make any mistakes. And I want to understand it. I want to understand a lot of the different things that we're all seeing on X about the charities that she was involved in and the overseas stuff. And, she says she lived in China and she says that she lived in Costa Rica and when and for what. A lot to kind of go through and it's taking a lot of time, but I do intend on doing an episode dedicated to that in the future. But I also want to give her the opportunity to respond to any questions that I have. Natty, the Moonies cult and this Korean guy that pops onto the scene after the Korean War, that to me feels like it was orchestrated by the CIA. And I can tell you that one of the patterns that I have recognized when I look into these obviously bought and paid for propagandists is that it seems that their grandfathers are all involved in the Korean War. They were all captains or lieutenant colonels in the Korean War. And I keep telling you that it's really important to recognize this strand of military corruption. I think that's the reason that the Moonies cult was established in Korea during that time, and that it is very likely that the entire thing was just a CIA operation, and they are attempting that again via Turning Point Faith, and that's the reason Turning Point USA Faith wants to get into real estate. It feels like they're buying up so much land, and now we're having these fires that are happening all around the world, these natural disasters, and they're trying to tell you that these disasters are natural, when it's becoming pretty apparent they're not. It feels like these are land grabs, and you should be allowed to think through that with what I am telling you. Anyways, avoid the faith grift in 2026. Something that is happening at the same time, obviously, is that all of these people seem to be radically obsessed with Israel. It's another component of this. It's just you can't let Israel go. It's almost as if the Mossad and the CIA, there is no separation between the two. It's why Bibi used to work for the CIA. If you've followed past episodes that we've done. I think we uncovered that during our Epstein series, but don't quote me on that. It feels like that is the strand that explains everything. Like our entire media is bought and paid for. Everything is in retainer. And I'll say allegedly here, even though my source comes directly from inside Liberty University. So I feel pretty confident that the information I received is accurate, that they just ousted and they said, Johnny's now back and influential and making money here. So what's the point here? Take me very seriously when I say that Turning Point Faith is problematic. The organization is intended to be the Moonies 2.0. The intention behind the Moonies cult, by the way, in case it's not clear to you, was one world government, achieved through the concept of a unification church. We are all being brought in by the, I guess you could say, their version of the Lord, which is just, I don't know, some CIA clone, somebody that you can get behind. They are repeatedly establishing a messianic figure, and they're expecting people to follow them because how dare you question the Bible? It's all really sick when you think about it. And Andrew Colbert, I think my dream might have meant something, and that's why you've been completely freaked since. Established what was the precursor to Turning Point Faith. I was around for that. The aim was to harness the energy of Charlie's brand with the youth and to turn that into ministry for evangelicals and to inspire young people to go to Liberty University, to sign up and to go to Liberty University, because Jerry Falwell Jr. had turned it into a very profitable school. And he had separated it from the church, wanting the finances not to be mingled with the church, which was something that his father had not done. There was no separation between the church and the school when Jerry Falwell Sr. was alive. Well, apparently the pastors who made a fortune while Jerry Falwell Sr. was alive did not like that. They did not like the separation of the church and the school. They wanted to profit from the school's earnings as they had done in the past. Again, I'm going to say allegedly. But this person inside, it got access. So when Charlie Kirk came around and wanted to expand things in a way that would not directly benefit the church, they weren't so keen on that idea. Now, this person that I spoke to is my favorite kind of source because she disagrees with me passionately on the topic of Israel. She said, I have to speak up irrespective of that because what they did to Charlie is wrong and they're lying about what happened. And I know that something is not right with these pastors because I know these men. So yeah, they established, Jerry Falwell, Charlie Kirk, the Falkirk Center in 2021. And I want you guys to remember that, interestingly enough, when Charlie Kirk was meeting at Liberty University about establishing that Falkirk Center, a certain Johnny Moore inserted himself into the meeting, the planning sesh, so to speak. He just pulled up a chair. Now, you remember I told you about this Johnny Moore character. At this time, in 2021, when he was back on their campus, there was no reason for Johnny to actually be there, even though he kind of grew up on the campus. He did. Johnny had been at that campus since he was 14 years old. We'll get into that. But he had quit his job as the lead pastor of Liberty University back in 2014. And yet here he was coming up with a reason to be there, snooping into Charlie and the Falkirk Center. And you should know that when Johnny left Liberty University in 2014, he went to Hollywood to start the PR company, the Kairos Company. Andrew Colvett, he was a part of the Kairos Company. You'll recall that. He's Johnny Moore's partner, protege, I don't know what you want to call it. But when that Kairos Company got established, Andrew Colvett was the executive vice president, and he effectively was working for the Kairos Company, Andrew Colvett, and then got hired to be the PR guy for Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA. Another interesting point that this source told me is that Johnny Moore, despite going to Hollywood in 2015 to work with, and I should mention here, Mark Burnett, it's who he went to go work for. Mark Burnett is a very big name in reality TV world. If you're in your head like I did immediately when I thought about that, I was like, wait, wasn't Erika on a show randomly? What's the show called Summer House in 2019? Interestingly enough, when Mark Burnett took over MGM, became the chairperson of MGM, they did acquire, he owned Summer House. So that's interesting. So there could be a connection there. There could not be one, but I'd be interested to know who her PR person was there. And I will ask how she got on the show. Anyways, back to Andrew Colvett, back to Johnny Moore. Johnny Moore immediately and consistently, despite establishing the Kairos Company, wanted his job back at Liberty University. He wanted to be still a part of Liberty University. And the question is why? Why was the Kairos Company so interested in keeping a leg inside of growing evangelical organizations? And I'm a conspiracy girly, and I have the mug to prove it. Victoria Betts writes, "Go Max, and always all glory to God." You are correct. The One You Feed writes, "What the hell is America's law enforcement? Is everybody bought?" A lot of people are bought. In fact, I think our military at the top are actually just mercenary squads to protect the gangs. I'm just going on all the conspiracies that I'm feeling in my vibes, but I'd like to revisit some of these school shootings. I'm wondering if children were being trafficked and administrators found out and they ended up dead. I've got weird vibes about some of these shootings now, because I do think that in part, when you look at some of these mass shootings, you find out that there's some government initiative, or I guess the government can benefit by having this particular person dead. How long has that been going on for? I don't know. Obviously not every school shooting, but I have questions. Cami R writes, "Admire you so much, Candace. I have 2 grown kids, so I appreciate what a warrior you are being a mama and bringing us information. God bless you and your family." It's the only way, man. If this really does become one world government, and I do believe that is the explicit aim, our kids just have no chance. So how are we not brave? Do you love your kids enough to be brave? Do you love your offspring enough to be brave? Do you love your family enough to be brave? I do. Charlie did. MakeItKnown.world writes, "Anybody, and I mean anybody but the current stooges in Congress, both houses that support the Zionists, do not vote for them. It only encourages them." I totally agree. And I'm not voting until we figure out who killed Charlie Kirk and exactly how it happened. So I'm out. You don't have to talk to me about politics at all. Blakely Webb writes, "I just got into it with a lady on Facebook because she was saying that you are stupid for having dreams and sharing them. She then proceeded to tell me about her dreams about you. How do people not realize how ironically stupid they are?" That's actually really funny. I dreamed a lot. I'm still having vivid dreams. They're not as they're not every single night like they were in the beginning, which was really stressful for me. It was I didn't like it. I did not like it. But I encourage you all to dream, and God speaks to us in our dreams. And actually, in fact, that is biblical. So how about that? Anyway, you guys, we will see you tomorrow.